All right, Pilsy, to our NHL draft rankings here at Locked On Senators, and we are doing something we've never done before. We are going out of order to get to Mason West, who's going to come in at number 38 on our NHL draft rankings, despite his average ranking being below the players who we've just covered yesterday. Why is that?
Well, the reason we're doing this, Ross, is because Mason West is a very intriguing athlete. You'll notice I didn't say hockey prospect or hockey player because he was also a D1 3-star quarterback football recruit that was recruited by 4 different schools, and he hadn't decided what path he was going to take. He was still humming and hawing. Am I going to go the football route? Am I going to go the hockey route? Now, Mason West, Minnesota kid, so the state of hockey. They love their hockey. They love their high school hockey. He was playing at Adena High.
State champ.
Yep, and he dominated there, 49 points in 31 games. Then he had a little taste of the USHL, 9 points in 10 games there. Even got 2 playoff games, no points there, though. And he just recently made the decision to commit to hockey. So we were waiting to see what his decision was, as were a lot of other scouts and prospect analysts. So the fact that he's now fully committed to hockey, that will undoubtedly change the way that prospects and scouts look at him, because I think he's going to go up on a lot of these guys' lists now that he's fully committed to hockey and is going to be more available, and more of his attention and development will go solely to one sport.
When he joined the USHL at the end of the season, he had 9 points in 10 games with Fargo, a -1, 6 penalty minutes. But for him, it's all about playmaking, and that's impressive in itself. Even more so when you look at the fact that he's 6'6", 215 pounds, and doesn't turn 18 until August. So he's also one of the youngest players with the most runway in this draft class. I am extremely interested to see his career and how it goes. There is precedent for this as well. Anders Lee, longtime NHLer now with the New York Islanders, was in a similar situation before his draft, and he decided as well to go the route of taking on hockey. And guess what? He's also from Adena. So there you go.
Wow. Okay. I mean, good choice for Anders Lee there. I think it's worked out for him.
Yeah. So I look at the fact that Mason West is a quarterback as kind of a reason why he's so good with his vision on the ice, which I would say is his number one asset, is being able to find guys in the right spot. And I think that it just speaks to what we hear pro athletes talk all the time about, is that playing multiple sports growing up isn't a hindrance. Oh, this kid's getting more ice time than mine in the summer. No, the skills are so transferable, and you can literally watch on Mason West's highlight pack how quarterback-ish the way he plays in the offensive zone is. He's scanning all the time, and he's making plays, and he's great for his size, especially on the ice, at getting off of defenders and evading them. It's pretty cool to see when you know the backstory of him and then watch him play hockey. There is a bit of similarity there.
Ross, would it be fair to say that I could envision and project him as being able to quarterback a power play?
Okay, nice. I think with his size, you probably want him at net front, but he could also play the flank the way that he can, snap the puck around. I think that you're looking at a guy now that scouts are going to say, okay, he has been kind of non-committal to following an NHL path. Now that he's going to be dialed in, no more breaking down football film. It's going to be all hockey. I think that the sky is the limit for this kid, and I think he's going to go far higher than maybe people will have thought at this point. To me, he's like a late first round, early second round pick. So I got no problem where we have him here at 38. Now, keep in mind that most of these rankings all of them are from before he decided 100% being in on hockey. Corey Prodman, the highest on him at 34. Then elite prospects at 49. Scott Wheeler at 53. Craig Button at 54. Bob McKenzie at 59. And McKenzie's rankings are the oldest of all of these. His are from the mid-term of the season. So it's an average rank of 49.8. He's a right shot centerman who has all the skills the size, and everything that NHL development teams would love to get their hands on and mold into a special, unique type player.
Yeah, he certainly has good playmaking skill. Some scouts say he needs to use his size more, and Ross, that might be partly influenced by when you're a quarterback. Sure, you have all the size, but you're not a physical player. Like
You're trying to get away from contact.
Exactly. He's not out there banging bodies. He's not making hits. He's not looking for contact. He's trying to evade it in the pocket. So maybe that's a thing where now that he's fully committed to hockey, he's like, all right, I got to figure out how to use my size in a more of a physical way. So I'm sure that he will learn in time. He's 6'6", 215 pounds. He's not going to have any trouble there. But with a guy like Mason West, it's interesting, Ross, because since we only just found out that he's fully committed to hockey, we don't know 100% where he's expected to play next season. Now, I would assume he's just going to stay in the USHL with Fargo, but he could go to college. Maybe he decides to go junior route. I doubt that. A Minnesota guy, that would be a very, very unique situation, leaving USA hockey circuits. But I think that'll be a big factor for him and teams being like, okay, now that you're committed to hockey, what's your next move? Where are you going to play? Because for some teams, that's very important.
Yeah, it's a great point. In his last 61 games, so the last 2 seasons of high school hockey, he made a mockery of the league with 87 points in 61 games, including 43 goals. So he is a goal scorer at that level, but then he turned into a full-on playmaker in the USHL. Only 1 goal in 10 games, but as I mentioned, 10 games, 9 points. So I just think that he's the type of player that you really think will take the next step, and quickly, as the athlete he is. So I would love somehow, some way for him to end up in Ottawa, not at 21st overall, but if they could somehow find a way into the second round, he would be a guy who would be extremely high on my list.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I differ from you there. I'm giving him a classic 3 stars, Ross, just because the Ottawa Senators prospect pool is so shallow. This feels like a bit of a risky play to me, considering that he's been splitting his development commitments. Now, I think he's going to turn into a good player now that he's committed, but it's just not the type of risk that I want the Sens to take. And I worry this is one of those, oh, he's got such good size. Let's go for that. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good prospect. I just don't think he's the fit, and don't think the Ottawa Senators are going to be in a range where it makes sense to take him.
And that I understand, but I also look at how the Sens have drafted in the past, Billsy, and size and being an athlete are very, very high up, and having high compete level and character and all that. And that would fit the bill with Mason West. So he comes in at number 38 on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings.